Hi again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on another edition of Disaster Hack. The goal of this series is to provide some basic information on important topics related to disasters and emergency management. My hope is that these videos are helpful for professors, students, practitioners, and everyday people who want to learn more about typical disaster challenges and acquire knowledge about how best to address them. Today we're going to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder and critical incident stress. These are adverse psychological impacts that may result from any type of natural, technological, or anthropogenic disaster. In this video, we have 3 learning objectives. We're going to understand why disasters produce severe psychological stress, comprehend PTSD and critical incident stress, along with their symptoms, and identify what can be done to address their psychological impacts. Let's get started. In general, people are remarkably resilient in the face of difficult life experiences. Most people will rebound from disasters, but some individuals and groups may witness extreme psychological challenges. This is to be expected when one experiences threats to their safety and physical well-being, witnesses death or suffering, encounters the loss of personal belongings or unemployment, experiences stress when dealing with insurance companies, or questions their luck or if they did enough to help others. In addition, there can be a pile effect of trauma for first responders, and the demands facing emergency managers can also be overwhelming. This brings up 2 key terms in emergency management. Post-traumatic stress disorder is the clinical diagnosis of symptoms that result from a psychologically traumatic event, such as a disaster. Critical incident stress is similar, but is often diagnosed among emergency service personnel. It's important to recognize that some individuals and groups may be more prone to PTSD and CIS than others. For instance, those with a difficult childhood or a prior traumatic experience, those with acute stress or pre-existing disorders, those who have lost property in a disaster or loved ones, those who were injured. The children or the aged could also be vulnerable. Also, those without emotional support are more prone to post-traumatic stress disorder or critical incident stress. There are a number of symptoms associated with PTSD and CIS. Some of the more common ones include anger, depression, or mood swings. Others to look out for are physical ailments, drug use, or withdrawal from friends and normal activities. There are a number of things that can be done to help those impacted by PTSD and critical incident stress. When needed, deploy specialized teams from the Red Cross or other individuals and organizations who have been trained. One of the most simple and yet profound things to do is offer sympathy and show concern, love, and support. Defusings and debriefings could also be considered for first responders. A defusing is a short meeting immediately after an incident to discuss what happened and see if anyone has psychological needs. A debriefing is a longer meeting that occurs on a regular basis after an incident to facilitate psychological recovery. Keep in mind that the value of debriefings are somewhat controversial because they often regurgitate prior negative experiences. So make sure that the people involved in debriefings are qualified to address psychological needs. There's also a disaster distress hotline that should be shared in the media and via social media. This could help anyone who experiences emotional trauma after a disaster. Let's try to summarize a few major observations. Disasters may produce emotional distress. Some people are more vulnerable to developing symptoms of PTSD and critical incident stress than others. Therefore, support can and should be provided to help them overcome psychological trauma. If you would like further information on this topic, I would encourage you to read the following document published by the National Academies Press. Best wishes and have a wonderful day.